Turn on that radio and back here. The cops ain't likely to catch up with us, not tonight. So we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
This episode of Auto Dealer Live is brought to you by TrueCar.
And I will do the show. No, you get out. I'll take your place today. Thank you. Thank you. The door's right there. Shut the blinds.
There's only 2 chairs in here, Dave. All right, I think we got that settled. Tommy, welcome.
Thank you. You know, I got some beef with you people. Which camera are we on, Lou? Is there a camera? Which one? This one?
Always look there.
Which one, huh?
Straight ahead.
Yeah, I got some beef with you
Tommy.
people.
It's been that long. Straight ahead.
I literally did not get a text, a phone call, a private message, a text message, anything when I stopped doing the show. Not one person cared. I don't know how to feel about that. I still don't know how to feel about that.
Have you given out your personal number? Because I think a lot of people cared.
I think it's on my Facebook. I think if you're a friend of my Facebook, I think you have access to my cell phone.
Okay, so no excuses.
Nope.
Pretty much nobody cared, Tommy.
I don't know how to feel about that. So I guess no one's going to care that I'm on the show today either. And
that's not really true. But obviously, Dave's not here. We just let him go. So wouldn't that be cool though? Hey, what if you could? Just kidding, obviously. Dave's the boss. He's the CEO. So what if you could fire the boss? What do you think that would look like if that was the norm? Like, okay, if you don't like what the boss is doing, you as an employee, you could just fire him.
Yeah, it would be like, hey, take a seat. I've been working here for some time, and I got to say that most of what you do, and like 98%, is just awful. And it's almost like you don't have any sense of like how people work, or if you're like how people think and talk to each other.
And if they could be fired, they'd have to say like, "Oh no, I think you're right, Tommy. I think that's right. That's right." Are you looking for a raise, by the way? Because I'd like to give some out today.
And and Tim would see you, and if you could give us a quick exit interview, that'd be great, and maybe we'd see how we can improve. But you are just worst.
Hey, welcome to the show, Auto Dealers. Thank you. The show where dealers go. And we've got a great lineup for you today. We're going to talk about a couple things before we hop into it. Obviously, we're just having a little bit of fun on our opener. Dave is not on the show today. He is talking with dealers right now, putting a couple things together. So if we don't see him later in the show, we'll see him next week. But Tommy, thanks for filling in, man. How are you feeling?
I was here today, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do my duty, and I'm going to do the show.
There you go.
Step in.
There you go. And you know what? I want to say this too, because for dealers who are watching, a lot of you get to know the Auto Dealer Live family here. And Tommy co-hosted for a long time and then kind of stepped away. Wasn't asked to step away, stepped away to go back and focus on sales because Tommy, I got to give you kudos, man. If for those of you who are watching, some of you know, but Tommy has been just consistently for a number of years the top salesperson here. It'd be somewhat similar to being the 30, 40 car a month guy or gal at a dealership. And a lot of kudos because absolutely. And, I learn stuff from you all of the time when I'm here because, it's a different element. You listen. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Stop.
Yeah, I do. So keep it coming, right? So, hey, there's a lot to learn from Tommy if you're in sales, as vendors know that are watching, and a lot of vendors tune in that call on dealers and sell to dealers, and that's what Tommy does day in, day out. You've seen it on Facebook Live. You've seen it in the Boiler Room episodes, also the IPD sales training. Tommy's a rock star, so just want to throw that out there. So and you've learned so much about the nuances of the dealership. I bet you could just kind of walk right in and do your thing right there as well. So great to have you back on the show, brother.
Thanks, man. Well, things have changed quite a bit since I started doing this. It was only September will be 10 years. I've worked for Dave, and it's the industry's changed quite a bit. And I think today's show kind of addresses that a little bit because, back in the day, 08 doesn't sound like that long ago in the grand scheme of technology or the grand scheme of time, but technology has. I mean, we're talking about iPhone was launched in 08, which has pretty much changed how everybody does everything in terms of everything going the mobile direction. And so the show today, my understanding, because, of course, I was late to the dance, Lou, is like, 97% of people that are actually on your website aren't going to buy a car. Is that today's? Is that,
you're close. You're close. Basically, 97% of the traffic going to your site, the dealer site, is going there with the intent of not really speaking to you, not necessarily, filling out lead forms, not reaching out, not trying to have a conversation, not trying to engage in your chat, online chat, but rather to come there for information. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about, is that something we need to fix? We're going to talk about some ideas, what dealers are doing, how they're addressing that now, what's changing. I'm sure we're going to get into much more conversation as we move forward. But real quick, I just heard something, kind of a breaking news before we went on, Tommy.
What's that?
And that I found very interesting. And if you're a Ford dealer, I'd love for you to chime in, make a comment on social media. By the way, welcome to the show. We've got Christine Plunkett joined in. Velko Tuchev is in the house. Brett and I, Andrew Myers, and many more jumping in. Remember to share and like the show. If we share the show, I think Lou will probably throw in some swag that you might be able to win.
We actually are giving away 5 tickets today live on air at 4:15 today. We're going to give away 5 tickets to Rockstar Automotive.
Oh, wow.
From ClickFusion.
Okay, you heard it from Lou, the producer. We've got 5 tickets to give away to the Rockstar Auto Conference. That's, by the way, Tommy, that's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Do we know the dates real quick on that, Lou?
I thought it was in...
It's in May. I'm going to get you the dates.
Okay, now. It's in May. We're going to get the dates for you. But, hey, that's an amazing...
I thought they were doing Branson this year. They weren't doing... They skipped Branson, huh?
Yes. Okay. So they are going to be in Vegas. What an opportunity if you're in the car business to grab a hold of some Rockstar tickets, auto conference tickets. There's going to be some great names on stage and doing some things. And let me tell you, it's a little bit more intimate than most conferences that you might see. So you're really going to have a blast, especially in Vegas. We'll make sure that we announce a winner around 4:15.
4:15, and it's May 14th and May 15th. And it's 5 tickets. Person that shares and likes, we'll be picking out 5
Okay,
tickets.
so if you share the show now live and you like the show, then we're going to put your name in the hat. We're going to pick 5 winners at the end of the show. We'll announce them at around 4:15 before the show ends. And but the breaking news, Tommy, is that I just heard from Ford, or heard on the news that Ford has decided that this is going to be, from the way I understood it, the last year that they produce a sedan here for the North American market. So basically, they're going to go all SUV, all trucks, and of course the 2-door cars like the Mustang and.
I think Mustang and Focus was the 2 I heard they were keeping.
Yeah, so the 4-door sedans are out for Ford. Hey, if you're a Ford dealer, if you have more detailed information as a Ford dealer, if you're an OEM tuning into the show, make sure that you comment, share that so that we can find out more about that. So
Ryan's he's at a Ford store.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe Ryan will have some info. He'll have some down low, hopefully, on that. So, coming up, Tommy, we've got Doug Sprinthall, Vehicle Operations Director at Walser Automotive Group. We've got Ernesto Servan, no stranger to the show, GSM at Garland Shelton Cadillac. We've got Ryan Dunston, Internet Sales Manager at John Blakely Ford. And we've got Andrew Myers, CEO, founder at What's Next Media. What a lineup we have. Mr. Tommy, what do you think?
I think we should probably, how do we do this? Do we still do a commercial break?
We are going to go to commercial break.
Yep. Commercial.
Is it you?
No.
Oh, who's sponsoring it?
ClickFusion.
Oh, okay. Well, let's do that then. We'll do that, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to these fine people, no?
Yeah.
We'll see you in a moment. We'll be back live with our panel in just a minute.
Hey everybody, this is Mikey. Today I want to share an exciting new feature with you from our sponsors over at ClickFusion. It's called VidMail. Look, in today's digital world, you can no longer rely on regular emails. Customers will either forget about them, lose them, or just completely ignore them altogether. So how can we solve this problem? Well, it's absolutely imperative that you add video to your emails if you ever hope to grab the attention of the modern customer. That's where FlickFusion can help. This top-notch video marketing team has just one goal, which is to provide you with fresh customers who are excited about coming into your dealership. They have an innovative service that can increase both your appointment percentages and show rates for your dealership. So what they do is combine traditional email with video marketing in order to captivate prospects and then direct them to your sales team. VidMail, you can even go mobile, from any device to any device, with both texting and live streaming capabilities. So why don't you check out FlickFusion's VidMail today at flickfusion.com and see how it can transform your digital advertising.
Got our great dealer panel be on here in just a moment. We've got Doug Sprinthall, Ernesto Servan, Ryan Duck Dunston, and Andrew Myers. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
So today we're really talking about the effectiveness of not only our dealer sites, but also what's going on traffic-wise. When the consumer's reaching our site, recent statistics says that 97% of the users that are going to our sites as dealers are not intending on speaking with us. In other words, that's not their intent when they land on the site. So how are we going to get that engagement? Let's talk about if it's something we need to fix. I think, consumers have kind of grown wise to the lead forms and things like that, and even maybe the chat buttons at this point. But let's go to Doug Sprinthall, Vehicle Operations Director at Walser Automotive Group. And Doug, first of all, welcome to the show and weigh in on how you feel about what we're talking about today.
Well, it's interesting. I do have to correct you. I was a vehicle ops director for these guys for 8 or 9 years. A year ago, they made me the PR and communications director, for which I'm completely unqualified for. But it's been an interesting journey. We're a one-price dealer group and we've been one for since 2001, because we think that the two things customers want to know when they're buying cars is, do you have it and how much is it? So we figure that we're actually answering those questions ahead of time, so we don't worry about the lack of lead forms. It's all, is our site driving traffic? Are we getting views on our cars? We look at time on site and all that sort of stuff. And if those metrics look good, we think that we're putting the information out there the customers want, and then it's just a question of getting them in the store.
Yeah, I think you're right, Doug. It's certainly not a statistic that says 97% of them aren't interested in going further, coming in, doing what they need to do. But I think that information now is so readily available and that is truly what they're searching. They're searching price, they're searching inventory. Those are the top two things. Let's go to Ernesto Servan and talk about, the possibility of, is there more that we can do? Does it work to add on the trade quotes, the trade estimates, or is video marketing inside that dealer site? Is that something that's going to give us a little more engagement? Do we even need it?
Yes, I think we do. Hello, everyone.
What's up, Ernesto?
It's been a while.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad to be on the show again.
Yeah, thank you, Ernesto. Love to have you.
I think it's very, very important that we have enough information for all the customers, not only for the trade-in, but also best prices. Pictures have to be there, all angles. You have to have, interior, exterior pictures. You have to be able to tell the story to the customer, like if you're selling a car online without you even being there. I think that's very, very important. If you want to get a customer that's 50 miles away, 100 miles away, there's got to be a reason for the customer to come to the dealership. If you can't do that on the internet, you're never going to have those customers coming to your dealership.
All right, let's get on that thought. Let's get Ryan back involved, since he is the internet sales manager at. Now, Ryan, too, with the Ford stuff that's happening, what's you're privy to that? I'm assuming. Is so Ford's dumping all the sedans for the most part, and then what is Lincoln keeping everything in terms of that? Is that what's going on, or what? Separate question.
In regards to the Ford Lincoln movement, I'm new to Ford. I just made the switch, so I've had my sights and my gear is dialed into reaching out to these internet customers for the most part. I have not got involved on the things above my head just yet.
Sure. Okay.
And that kind of stuff. I've never been concerned. I've never been the type to be concerned with the schematics of inventory. But I'm an internet guy.
10-4. So in regards to what Ernesto said, I saw somebody on Facebook put in. She said it was Christina. I think it was Christina. Is it Michelle? No, Christina Plunkett. That's what
Christina Plunkett.
She said She said, if you want website shoppers to call you, easy to remove mileage from used cars and price from new ones. It's a terrible idea, but they will call you. So in this day and age where everyone's going to look online, whether they become an internet buyer or whatever, everyone's looking online. What's the secret with the disconnect? Because there's obviously going to be just a few years ago, people weren't doing that right now, and people will casually look online. They'll casually see what you have, shop your competitors, and so forth. So how do we get that person from being online, just being a guest? And, not for nothing, you were talking about the chat feature. Half the time, the chat feature isn't even a real person. It's that one generic person with the microphone on, and they got the same generic people behind them. I know those people are generic. That isn't Jen.
And it's usually popping up in the way of the thing you're about to click on to.
It is. And then
you got to move it. You got to close it out to try to click on that thing you want.
Exactly. So what is the secret? How do we get these people in? How do we get these people in nowadays? Is there? Talk to me. What are you thinking?
I think the secret is finding out what the problem is, and once we acknowledge the problem, we can apply the solution. The problem is with trust. Our customers still don't trust us. In the large scheme of things, dealerships aren't trusted. Salespeople still aren't trusted. Even our websites, we're not trusted. So a question you asked earlier about trade, but bringing in these more vendors with more tools and more resources to share more information, it's working, but we're changing the game when I don't think we need to. I think we got to take a couple steps back and get back to being people, and trustworthy people with personality and confidence, information but conviction. And when we start selling ourselves, we don't have to sell the price. We don't have to sell, I have trade-in information, and I can appraise your car from OGA. I've never been one to back down and to, I got to give you more information for you to come see me. I'm gonna sell you myself. I'm gonna make you believe in me, and I'm confident that I'll get you all the information. But right now, let's make sure that you like me and I like you.
Well, how do you convey that if you don't even have a chance to talk to them or even have a face-to-face? How do you convey that?
Yeah, it's hard to do that with voicemails, text messages, and emails. So obviously, implementing video helps. But we got to say things that other people aren't saying. I may be a knucklehead in my own sense, but in my emails, I'm going to leave a different message than anybody else. In my voicemails, I'm going to say something that nobody else is saying. The things that I text and how I text with people, you'd find it hard to find me a professional salesperson at times because you're going to think this guy is just like my friend. He's just like my brother or my cousin or my uncle. That's the way I treat my customers. I speak to them as if I'm speaking to a family member. And without it being fake or scripted or say things like fantastic and great and awesome, it's natural and it's real. And just doing our due diligence on hitting all text, call, voicemail, video. We got to shoot the shot, but we got to do something. We got to say something different.
Well, what's interesting? You used to, one of the trainings Cribbs would do when he was working here and he would do some meetings. Is that was one of his. He would hit on almost when we talk about openings or how to talk to these guys. He always said you have to come across different. You have to say something different, and not say something different for different sake, just to be a goober. You know what I mean? Because people don't want their time wasted either. So there's that fine line of, is this guy wasting my time and being a stupid idiot, or is he just trying to get my attention and appealing to me in a normal way? So you always hit on that. I never forgot that.
Right. It's
always something. Just be different. Be a little bit different than the next guy, so that you stand out in a crowded room. That's the objective. Oh, I'm sorry. You were saying-
Yeah, no,
Absolutely
exactly. You know, I often say you don't want to sound like you're coming. The last thing you want the dealer to feel like is that you're calling them from a call center or something like that. But let's go to Andrew Myers. You know, Andrew, CEO, founder of What's Next Media. No one better to talk about this particular subject. And one of the things I'd like to share is, you know, one of the things I love about car people in general is we are willing to do just about whatever it takes to get the consumer's attention. And that's essentially kind of what we're talking about. Okay, the site is there. That gets their attention to get them there. Now that they're there, what do we do next so that we can increase this level of engagement and create even more opportunities to capture them and maybe have direct contact from them landing on our site? Andrew, what do you think?
Well, I know what you guys expect me to say, which is obviously I could rant on and on about putting all your value propositions on your website. You know, trade appraisals, respect for your time, reasons to buy from you, testimonials, and these humanizing factors have the same effect as like an evidence manual used to long ago. But if I can, let me back up, because I don't want to take the obvious route here. Let me just take a moment to frame this and then a moment to tell you what other dealers are doing to solve it. So the first thing is, if you're talking about your website traffic, you can't call them all the same. Some of those are your local customers, and it's absolutely your job to engage those customers, be meaningful to those customers, build a relationship with those customers. They're a different type of problem. Then you have customers that are outside your market that are going to come give you a sniff, and they never are intending, which is the premise of this show, to buy anything from you at all. And so you shouldn't feel obligated to sell that customer. So essentially, your in-market customers are an opportunity, your out-of-market customers are an opportunity, and your in-market customers are almost a liability. So on the lot for years, customers have had no intent to buy a car, and we called them ups because we had our fingers in them. They could see our face, and like Ryan keeps hitting on, it gives you a chance to make a friend. If they swear, you swear. If they say the word bro, you say the word bro. And because of that, you can bypass some of the things that might have kept them from coming to your store or doing business or coming back out a half hour in the car to pick a car that's identical to one that's close to them. So the real problem that people have is that digitally you have an inability to make a friend and to give somebody an experience with you and not just the car. So for us, digitally, it's about stopping the lot drop. Or to pay all this money on SEO and SEM to bring people to the site, and if they're non-engagers, we just let them go. So, you know, I could talk for another 20 minutes about remarketing, which dealers have got to see this as an opportunity and not an obligation. If a customer comes to your website and tells you exactly what products of yours they're interested in and leaves, you got to see that as a successful encounter. Now, you know exactly what to go follow this person around and say to them to motivate them to come in either back to your business or back to your content so you can tell them more about your business.
Yeah, hey, great points, Andrew. I knew you wouldn't disappoint, and we'll come back to some of those. I'm sure some of the other panelists are going to want to weigh in. So let's go to Doug Sprinthall. You know, Doug, you mentioned earlier that you were a one-price store, and you understood that, you know, those who are coming to your site are looking for price and inventory, and it's okay if we get those questions answered quickly for them on the site, and we expect that those are going to convert into actual deals. But not to discount your site at all in that regard, but do you find do you find that you kind of are on autopilot there, or are you constantly thinking about what can we do more even though we've put that information out there?
You know, that's a really good question, and I'm going to give you probably an unusual answer. Here is, in my mind, and this ties right into public relations. Here's the problem with every dealer's website. It doesn't matter if you're one price or you mark everything up 10 grand and arm wrestle all the way down. Websites inherently cannot create emotional bonding with customers. What one guy was saying about how he treats all his customers like his friends, that's really great. I mean, that's a great sales technique. I think we'd all agree that that's valuable. But our websites can't do that. So if you believe that's true, then the question we should be asking is, how do we create emotional bonds and excitement with potential customers? And we do that, honestly, through a lot of traditional media. I do a lot of live radio. I do a podcast once a week with with a local guy here. It's got 400,000 downloads. And we never talk about selling cars, but the goal is to try to become the trusted automotive voice in the community. So I changed my email years ago to doug@walser.com. I put that out on traditional media all the time. I get 50 emails a week from potential customers or people that said, hey, well, you guys screwed this up. Can you help me? It's really a great way. And then the website just becomes a way to support what we're trying to do with the customers. Because really, websites at their best are just good inventory tools. They don't really sell cars. If you have the right car and it's priced appropriately, you're ahead of the game, but you can't do with a website what a great salesperson can do face-to-face with a customer, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah, thank you, Doug, and a lot of that certainly rings home with many dealers. Go ahead, Tommy.
I would say what I wonder is part of the thinking is, I think, and maybe it's because we have to think that way, where everything is in a block of this is the way it is. You know what I mean? Because what you just said, the only reason I would take issue with it is because anymore, aren't you dealing with for the most part, a more educated person on a car because there's so much information out there available to them. And when they're looking...
Oh, yeah, that's true. The first new car I sold was an 83 Escort. The world's changed dramatically in 35 years, I can tell you.
My first car was an 84
They typically
Granada.
know as much or more about the cars than the people that are selling them these days. It's completely opposite than the way it was. I think everybody realizes that.
Yeah, okay. So,
Hey, guys, can I touch on something Doug said?
Sure.
Sure.
And I have an example for this. I love what he said about creating emotional bonds with customers. And the reason that he's seeing success there is because the next thing he said was it's not about selling cars. It's about showing them that we are like them. Hey, dude, we'll sit around and talk about wrestling for a half hour. You're going to go buy a car from somebody that doesn't like, whatever you have in common with somebody. And so one of the things that we're doing with dealers right now that's unbelievably effective is we actually, as a company, but dealers could do this themselves, we went ahead and made 50 interest ads for golf things, doctor, if you're a nurse, if you're a police officer, if you like dogs, if you have kids. Being able to, that's why I said remarketing is an opportunity and not an obligation. So now if somebody comes to our website, picks out some vehicle stuff, we know that about them. And now we can mix this in with a ton of personality stuff. Just build it. We're part of your community. We understand nurses. We understand the obligation of time with moms. We like dogs. Oh, you like dogs? Oh, my God, so do we. And it allows you to target people individually so that, let's use Chicago as an example. You could actually make an ad that says, do you hate the White Sox? I hate the White Sox, too, because you know you're only going to play that to Cubs. You can do that in the targeting. So it does allow you, it's not impossible, like you said, websites are just inventory tools. That's true. But what if we use them as identification tools, find out something about the customer, and then bring the sales component, the slow them down component with us to Facebook so that we're talking to them about why to buy from us, things we have in common, how we're just like them, and, oh, yeah, stock number P1307.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Andrew, and that's what I wanted to also kind of get in with Ernesto, and we'll go to Ernesto and kind of talk about that. The cool thing is, other than the OEM guidelines and things like that we have to live by, we do have a lot of latitude to maybe take a risk and do something a little different than what the consumer is seeing on each and every site, which is, granted, great to have that information, but can't we do something better? Can't we do something where we are featuring, I know locally here in the Tampa Bay area, there's a Ford store not too far from here, and they ran a series of commercials on TV for a couple of months, and it had nothing to do with the cars. It was all about, one or two individuals in the dealership, and they would feature a person and tell a little story about them, and at the end, come see me at Bartow Ford. But and I let it out. Yeah, it's Bartow Ford. But the point is that I found that very refreshing. I was more attracted to that ad than I was, the $199 lease payment or whatever the case may be. But Ernesto, talk about what are we going to see a change in the typical dealer website? Are we moving more towards that? And some of the things that Andrew talked about that I know for a fact are working across the country once dealers are taking a new approach or kind of a risk, if you will. Talk about that, Ernesto.
Yes, I think we're definitely moving that direction. I think customers don't want to spend a lot of time at the dealership. They want to spend more time on the internet. They want to go online. They want to know how much their vehicle is worth. They don't want to call the dealership and say, hey, before I go to the dealership, can you tell me how much my vehicle is worth? They want you to have a trading tool so they can appraise their car. They want to know how much their payments are on this particular car. They want to know how much the lease payments are on this particular car. I think if you have all that information on the internet, all the proper information, and you can save the customer time. If you study your market and you have competitive pricing, I think you're going to be ahead of the game. I think you're going to get more customers to your dealership. I think you're going to get more phone calls coming in. You're going to get more appointments. And you're just going to see a big result because customers do not want to spend all the time at the dealership. They want to spend all the time on the internet. And if you give them all that information that they need, you're going to see more traffic coming in than any other one.
Yeah, yes, right on, Ernesto. We're going to read a couple comments real quick. Tommy, can you see those? Because, you know, my eyes are a little older than yours. So can you see those comments and read them out, some of the social media comments?
Joe Ingram said, I find over the net and phone, it's about being efficient and respectful to the prospect. He said, save the bonding for the face-to-face selling. What we got here? Christina Plunkett, the relationship doesn't matter as much as it used to for younger shoppers. No matter how much you try to bond with the prospect, he or she is going to perceive it as phony. Show me you have the car I want at a great price. Limit my time at the store and interaction with salespeople.
Let's
do you want to?
Yeah, let's get back to that point by Christina, because I love that. Christina Plunkett talked about the fact that, you know, hey, there's every day there's a younger group of people, or, you know, the new generation coming along, whatever you want to call it. I really think it's more about just the change in consumer habits and behaviors.
It's not a generational thing
I don't think it's so much generation, but now they can sniff out the sales pitch so easily. So now it is all about relationship. But even that, trying to be genuine and just kind of start to form that bond or ask some questions that lead to a relationship. It's like, you know, the marketplace may not be you know, as receptive to that as they are just the facts, information. So making that transition, Andrew, let's talk about that for a moment, and then we'll go to Ryan to comment as well. But let's talk about that, Andrew, that struggle of now, hey, just give me the information, give me the facts. When I figure it all out, I'll reach out to you.
That sucks.
Oh, it's totally true. I mean, anyone in the internet can tell you that. I mean, we would throw staplers at people who gave up all the information on the lot. We know that doesn't work, and we learned pretty quickly it doesn't work in the BDC either, and there's no reason to think it would work on the internet. The only thing we have over people is this information. And we mistake them as customers when they view themselves as doing their due diligence. They're just there to get the information. So we have to appear to be open with it, but hold it back enough so that we can build rapport with them before they get it all. Once they get it all, you know, we're out there. So, you know, if you put yourself in the mind of the out-of-market shopper, what could you do to, you know, we're not going to sell them all, but what could you do to endear yourself to them or to make their experience seem like it's like there's no reason not to do it, which includes, you know, carousel ads of possible employees they could work with, carousel ads of the different values of working with you, you know, the inventory that they're interested in directly back to them, and things like that.
Yeah, and Ryan, let's go to you real quick. I know it's been a while, and appreciate your patience. I know there's been several comments made from not only from social media, but here on the panel. So go ahead and weigh in, Ryan.
Yeah, I feel a lot of the things that Andrew said, and maybe we're kind of cut from the same cloth. With things that Ernesto said, you know, the tools, the information sharing, the best pricing, that information, everybody in the car business that I know, 85%, 90%, I get complaints. I get complaints from salespeople, from internet managers, from GSMs and GMs about, you know, what lead source is the next one that they're going to hate. What lead provider is the next one they can't stand, and which ones they don't want to do deals from. You know, we got the price leads that we don't like to do ugly deals on. We have now we have shoppers assurance, and people are buying back end through a website, and they're signing up for their own interest rate, their own gap. We're losing the opportunity to sell, and that's because, like, as a group, we're choosing to share the information as opposed to changing our attitudes and our behaviors with the way that we communicate with people on the large scale. I'm not talking about once a customer shows up to your lot, but I mean the way that your dealership presents itself on the road that it's on, and the ads that it presents or provides itself to the community, commercials, everything. We have to change our behavior to get control back, because right now, instead of changing our behavior, we're giving it to the vendors, we're giving it to the information sharing, and we're enabling and empowering our customers to have control, and then we're We're shaking our heads when they're in our dealership or working us over the phones or on email because we have no control. And it's just change your behavior.
But isn't that
on the thing that I think you guys probably expected me to say? The key is all about slowing the customer down. I mean, if you get somebody to your website, that's a big win. You're finding out stuff about them. But why not look at it in terms of, hey, this is my opportunity to say, this is how our pricing is better. This is how our selection is better. You can put these little videos as picture icons. So literally every dealership out there for free could be merchandising their actual VDPs with reasons to buy from them. If I find out that I like Ryan and I follow him on Facebook, I probably would decide I like that guy. You as a business have got to get Ryan in front of me before I buy somewhere else. It doesn't have to be on my first visit.
Oh, that's a good point.
You can take a message from Ryan and make sure I see it, even if I'm on the way into your dealership or someone else's. But you're not going to close them on that web visit. So put together a plan of what you're going to say to them for the 5 days after they leave either way.
That's a great point, Andrew. I love that quote. Get Ryan in front of you before you go somewhere else if you like Ryan. So let's go back to Doug Sprint Hall. And Doug, you mentioned earlier that, the first car you sold was an 85 Escort, and I'm not far behind you. And, for those of us who've been in the business for so long, one of the things that we're seeing with the new consumer behavior and also the information age and, moving closer and closer to this blue shirt sort of sales process and presentation, for me, it's very tempting, Doug. I'm not sure about you, but I still, without trying to sound too old school, I still revert back to sales skills. And, if I'm on the lot and I'm seeing something happen, I'm like, hey, let's take the lead. Let's pull up the car. Let's do a professional walk around, and let's do it in a way where the customer enjoys it, but we're sort of leading them through the things we know that need to take place to get them to arrive at a point where they're wanting to drive that car home. So what are you seeing, Doug, in that area? And how do you feel about it?
No, I think you're exactly right. But what's different, that's just good salespersonship. The difference between when you started and when I started, for the most part, is the business model is no longer to try to trick people, right? If you're going to be good at this, that's just so old school, it's not even worth trying. So, but you can still create those relationships and lead the customer, not where you want to take them, but where you think that they should go. I think that's an important distinction.
Yeah, I think so.
If you're doing it right, you really are trying to help people.
Yeah, I think so too. So Ernesto, again, it's been a few rounds with some of the other guests. I'm going to give you the opportunity to weigh in now, and if there's anything you want to add. I also know that, Ernesto, you spent a lot of time at a Subaru store, and now you're with Cadillac. If there's anything you might want to bring up as something that might be a big difference than what you're seeing. But any topic you want to talk about, what we've said so far, go ahead and weigh in, Ernesto.
Yeah, well, to finish up this topic, I think, having the relationship with the customer when you get on the phone is great. Having the relationship with the customer when they come into the dealership is great. But what the biggest difference is what are you doing on the internet to be able to have the opportunity to get the customer. I think we have to think about that, especially with the young generation that goes online and shops. They don't care about the relationship. They just want the best price. They want to see the equipment. They want to see what it's got. They want to know the trade. They want to know all that stuff. Now, once you get them in, then you can have the relationship. But, what are we doing to be able to have the opportunity? I think to me it's important. I've been doing this for 17 years, and I understand the old school and building the relationship, but we also have to keep up with today's market and understand the shoppers online. They don't care if you live in the same town. They're gonna pass 100 dealers if you get the best price.
Sure.
And you won't know. You're going to go through 100 to 200 dealerships, and you're going to get there, and you won't know. And next thing you know, it's, hey, I just bought a car. Because the other dealership had a better price.
Yeah, that's true. So thank you, Ernesto. We've got on social media here, just want to give a couple of quick mentions. Gordon Campbell's joined us. Adam Harnersky. Yeah, that too.
Hamersky.
Of course, Amanda Ryan and a few others have joined us, and Tito Washington, Ian Campbell. So just want to mention again, if you like and share the show, we've only got a few more minutes left. We're going to give away 5 tickets to the Rockstar Auto Conference in Las Vegas coming up.
May 14th and 15th.
Yeah, and either one of those things, when you say Rockstar Auto Conference or you say Las Vegas, I want to go to either one, and now they're both in the same place, so that's a cool thing. So
really good for you, Chris.
So yeah, hey, you know,
That's
so
good.
so let's go to Ryan, and Ryan, maybe give some comments, closing comments as well. Just talk about maybe a moment or two of our discussion and anything that you think that we can do to improve our presence with our dealer sites.
Good. Closing statements. I don't want to put the wrong image out from my emotions earlier. It's just I love my vendors. I love every single one of the vendor relationships that I have out there. And I just don't want us using the vendors for the wrong reasons. I don't want us to use our vendors for this one's giving us the customers pricing. This one's giving the customers the opportunity to buy back financing and for the best just inventory. Use the vendors. The reason why I love all my vendors is because of one reason primarily, and that's because they provide me with a name and a number. So with that name and number and the source of the name and number, I'm going to know how to start my conversation. But my biggest goal in having a conversation, whether it be on the phone call or email or text or video, is to get them to see me and introduce myself to them and my personality and my confidence, my professionalism, the information that I have for them. I don't want us continuously to complain about the car world that we're in now, as if we haven't done it to ourselves. Let's take back control and let's get to start selling ourselves again.
Hey, real quick before you wrap it up, Ryan, when you were talking about that, taking the control back and turning that, is it too far gone, the industry, to make that turn? Because the Titanic, they knew the iceberg was coming for a minute, but they had to spin the thing, the wheel. Couldn't miss it. It was too big. Couldn't turn it around in time.
It's gone. We've definitely crippled ourselves as an industry, but I don't think it's too far gone to where we can't take back control. If we don't believe in ourselves, we'll continue with the path that we're taking. But all we got to do is say, stop. Come on, let's get control of this thing.
Hold up. Wait a minute. All right. Well, thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, so let's go to Andrew Myers. Andrew, we've talked about a lot today. I think that the viewers have probably picked up on the fact already that you even the name of your company, What's Next Media. I mean, you're on the cutting edge, and you are constantly searching for how to reach the consumer in a better way for dealers. And maybe some closing comments on the things you see. You talked about the remarketing, but maybe just a couple things that dealers might want to take a gamble on right now to do something on their site that will give them a great result.
Yeah, so I'm gonna facilitate this conversation by just driving a wedge between two terms that get conflated as the same thing all the time. But before I do that, I will definitely be calling Ryan when this is over. I'm going to lay my ears on him. And the next time you ask him that question, he'll be able to say how he's already doing. Because like he said, all I want is a name and number. I just need to know who this customer is so I can get out there and start talking to him. But what Ryan doesn't realize is I can give you an IP number. I can tell you exactly who that person's Facebook profile is, and then you don't even need to know what their name and number is. You don't have to pick up the phone. So we're going to bottle his personality, his testimonials. We're going to get him to make that message about his character and his commitment to customer satisfaction. And then we're going to spend, I'm not joking, 25 cents per customer to remarket their web traffic with those 5 or 6 messages. Now, I bet you the dealer would let him spend his own money and give them their entire feed to remarket. When we do this for dealers, we remarket all their VDP information, all these videos about us, all these interest videos, and we can't spend more than $1,500 a month. Because it's cheap, it's remarketing. I know Ryan can probably afford $1,500 a month, and he would have more traffic than the dealership does because he's not lot dropping these customers. So my argument is, these people coming to your website, picking out cars and leaving, those are leads. You do have information about those people, you just don't use it. It'd be like customers that didn't think a phone number was valuable. There's salespeople like that. So you have to see this Facebook advertising as not advertising. Advertising is going out and looking to find new customers. What we need to view it as is remarketing, and understanding that remarketing is a different thing than advertising. And if you're rolling out banner ads to these customers, it's like throwing out your shoes after you wear them. If you pay $4 to get them to come to your website, pick out a car, and then you just let them go with no messages, that doesn't make any sense at all. So my final argument is don't pay for remarketing impressions. Make remarketing impressions. Impress people. Tell them about yourself. They can't buy a car from you while they're on your website in most cases. So answer that question, what you want to tell them, with at least 4 hours, probably more like 2 weeks that you have stuck.
Yeah, I think you've got dealers' wheels spinning right now, Andrew. So appreciate appreciate those comments. Let's go to Doug Sprinthall, and Doug, maybe just talk about some final comments about what you've heard today on the show. Maybe some things you want to leave dealers with that you know are must-haves for either your site, or things that maybe are worth taking a look at experimenting with.
I'm going to steal Andrew's remarketing idea. I think that I Hate the Cubs is brilliant. And living in Minnesota, the Timberwolves just did a face plant. The Wild are done, and the Twins are going to be terrible this year. So we could hate all three teams and probably build a lot of great relationships and sell a lot of cars. Thank you for that, Andrew.
You'll get shares too, man. We have some of these ads where there's 35 real shares, hundreds of comments, people arguing, tagging each other. I mean, when you make content, real content, all you're doing is paying to put it in front of them. That's not cheating. You used to be, you could do that with your own wall, and they get it in their thing. Now they don't. They just go through it. It's worth 30 cents to tell people my story. You're going to find 100 more ideas like that on their own.
Good stuff. Good stuff. You're causing some reaction here. So let's go to Ernesto for final comments. And Ernesto, it's great to have you back on the show again. I know you're a rock star. By the way, when I visited the area that you're in and we did some training up there, I heard nothing but great things about your performance inside dealerships. So Ernesto, final comments. Ernesto. Okay. We might have lost Ernesto when I was when I was giving his testimonial about how great he was.
Hey, you're so good. You're the best I've ever heard. Hey, I heard all about you. Hey, hello, Ernesto. I was talking good about you. Watch it on the replay.
That's great. So before I let you guys go, we're going to wrap it up here. But is there anyone that wanted to say anything final before we sign off? All right. I got Doug Sprinthall. Thank you for being on the show. Ryan Duck Dunstan, Andrew Myers, and, of course, Ernesto Cervan. Gentlemen, thank you for weighing in today as dealers across the country listened in. We're going to give away some our Rockstar Auto Conference tickets here in a moment. But, gentlemen, thank you for being on the show.
Yes, thanks, guys. It was great as always.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you. So, Tommy, good panel, great discussion. I think dealers, it gives them something to think about with their websites, and I think a lot of people are listening to that whole remarketing idea, especially when he talked about the budget for that. So let's maybe can you read a couple comments real quick? We'll get Lou to talk about what we got, Lou.
Yeah, Christina Plunkett's.
Are we going to make an announcement on the ticket yet or no?
Oh yeah, we're good to go, man. What's wrong with you?
Oh, we're good to go.
Can we read some more?
Are we going to announce it? Are we going to announce it on the show, or are we going to announce it after?
I have.
You have the winners?
I have our sponsor on the line right now.
Oh, well, bring them on.
Ted, are you on?
Let's do it.
I am here.
Hey, Ted with Flick Fusion. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. How is everyone today, this afternoon? Great show.
Doing fantastic. Thank you so much, Ted. Appreciate it. And Tommy, did you have something you wanted to say?
No, I was going. Did we need to do a drum roll, or do we have a drum roll set, or do you want to? How do you want to set up? Do you want me to wear any special clothing for this announcement, or
you just stand there and look pretty, bro? You're the eye candy. You know that?
I think this lighting. I don't like new lighting.
Lou, if you had some pom poms.
There you go.
You have pom-poms? No, we lent them out. Sorry.
So So for our viewers and our audience, part of what helps us bring this show to you are our incredible sponsors. Ted with Flick Fusion being one of those. Today we're giving away 5 tickets to the Rockstar Auto Conference in Las Vegas, courtesy of Flick Fusion and Rockstar Auto Conference. Lou, who are the winners? Do you have those or does Ted?
Teddy-
got the
Teddy hit
winners
us up.
already. All right, let's go, Ted. Let's start with number 5, and we'll count down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5.
You bet. All right. Number 5 is Joe Ingram.
Joe Ingram.
Joey.
Joe.
He's all up in the piece.
Joe, congrats. You just scored a ticket to the Rockstar Auto Conference.
Costa Mesa, California.
And in Las Vegas,
I may have made
Nevada. What happens at Rockstar? Okay, so Ted, number 4.
Right. Number 4, we have Adam Hammerski.
Adam Hammerski, the guy we couldn't pronounce his name a few minutes ago. Good job.
That's right.
He won a ticket. Hey, who
Good
cares,
job
man?
on
Who cares what
pronouncing
we call
that
you?
too, Ted. All right, number 3.
Hey. All right. It is Christine Plunkett. Come on down.
Christine
She's
Plunkett.
done a great job. Very,
Yes.
very
great comments
engaged
today,
today.
too.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I also saw Jay Lasco pop in earlier, a couple other people, but Mike Phillips. Okay, so let's go to number 2.
Number 2 is Christina Michael.
Christina Michael, yes.
Christina
Saw Christina
Michael.
Michael in a while ago as well, sharing and commenting on the show. Congratulations, Christina. That's 2 Christinas going to Vegas.
Christina and
So-
Christina. They can hang
so-
out together. It's great.
All right. So I think there's only one.
you said.
I think there's only one ticket left to give out. So if you're still hanging in there, here we go. Number 1, Ted.
Oh, well.
Here we go. Number 1 is Gary Pollard.
Gary Pollard. All right. Gary, hey, congratulations, Gary, and to all 5 of our winners. You're going to the Rockstar Auto Conference courtesy of Flick Fusion and Rockstar Auto. And cannot thank you enough, Ted. We appreciate you coming on and doing this for us.
Hey, no problem at all. And Stacy wanted me to give a shout out and let everybody say hello. So I'm giving it for Stacy Ellison.
Oh.
Just wanted to shout out a rock star in it.
We love
in and of herself.
We love Stacy Ellison. We love her, love her,
Stacy's
love her.
good
So thank you.
peoples. She likes dogs.
All right. So here we go. Great show, Tommy. We heard a lot. You came in and with 60 seconds notice and said, "Bam, I'm on." We let Dave go, but yet I have a feeling. I have a feeling he'll still be in charge.
I have a feeling I got some grace in my heart, and I have a feeling we might just make
rehire
up.
him?
Yeah, I might.
All
I
right,
might. I don't know. Let's see what's next week.
Let's schedule his interview, and we might be bringing him back on.
Yeah.
So,
But
hey,
it
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it was fun. It was fun to do this again. Hey, the TV in front of us, the monitor has been like every 15, 20 seconds. It's refreshing. So I have not seen any of the show, and every time it stops on my face, I'm like, it's a stupid look on my face, or I look really fat. I put on about a few pounds. But thank you for that, Lou. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that this TV right in front of this monitor was absolutely buffering the entire time.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate
Well, I'm taking
you.
this place, so I
mean,
wanted to make sure.
I was literally going to say that. Thanks.
I could have threw a pen at you.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
There we go. We've got some upcoming shows. The internet is dead. Budget cuts or short-term thinking. How to empower dealership workers. The customer experience. Is it getting any better? Not to mention the spontaneous shows, because sometimes when we have a hot topic, we change it and create a show on the spot. So, hey, thanks today for everyone tuning in. The show where dealers go. You've been watching Auto Dealer Live. I'm Dave Cribbs.
Tommy Elwell.
And Lou behind the mic.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you next week on Auto Dealer Live.
God bless y'all. Good night.